What I'm making today is some chicken legs, and I have some stuffing, the instant kind in a box, and I'm going to make a little bit of gravy to put over top of it. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to sear my chicken legs in my hot pan with some avocado oil and season it up, and then I'm going to mix up my stuffing and put it in my baking dish and put the chicken legs on top and let them cook till they're done, and then I'll drizzle some gravy on them. And then also I made a Coca-Cola cake, and I have some frosting I need to thin down to put as a drizzle over that. So come along and watch as we prepare Feed a Friend Friday meal and get this together. So I think they think people have enormous hands because these are huge. Okay, so first I'm going to take and put some water in my pan that I have over there, my saucepan, for the stuffing. And when I use box stuffing, even if I use homemade, I usually add a can of cream of chicken because it just adds a little extra richness to the flavored broth. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put 3 cups of water in my saucepan. And 3. And then I'm going to add a stick of butter because it calls for 1/4 of a cup for each one. So I'm going to put a stick of butter in and let that warm up. And add my cream of chicken soup. I'm going to scrape all the extra stuff out of the sides. While that's heating up for the stuffing, I am going to take this and dump it in my baking dish while my avocado oil is heating up for my chicken legs. I add a little bit of parchment paper so to make my cleanup a whole lot easier. You know, it's funny, when my kids were young, I never used parchment paper. I did not even know parchment paper existed. But when I was raising my kids back in the day, we were poor as church mice, so it would have been a luxury anyways. But at any rate, it really isn't that expensive. I just didn't know that it existed. And so it's like a game changer when it comes to cooking and baking because it makes your cleanup so much easier. So there's my stuffing. And hopefully I can fit everything in this little baking dish. I don't know if you can see this. This is a 9 by 13 pan. And I just put it in there with the parchment paper. And I have about, let's see, 15 legs. So I'm going to saute them. And once I mix it all up, I'm going to put it in there. So we'll see if it all fits in there. Alrighty. Now, I'm going to use to season my chicken before I saute it with a little bit of Creole, of course a little bit of Dash, and some no salt farm dust from Weaver's Dutch Country. None of these are sponsors. These are just my go-to spices that I use pretty much every day for everything. So it's funny, I'll watch a lot of the other shows on YouTube. I have a couple favorite homesteaders that I watch, and it's interesting how we all have our own flavor profiles with seasonings and just different dishes. Yeah, you know, we all have our own profile on what we like to season food with and saute it with. So there's those legs. Oh, it's definitely getting hot. Let me turn it down just a little bit and take these off so I can season them without touching my containers with yuck hands. So, I'm going to put my farm dust on top first. I'm just going to coat it real good. And then there goes the Dash. I need to invest in a great big old skillet that's about that big for that much chicken, because a lot of times when I have kids over on Sunday, my family, and I make fried chicken, I end up making probably about 7 or 8 pounds, and we talk a lot of chicken, and you got to have 2 pans going at the same time. So one of these days, I'll invest in one of those great big old skillets. So Okay, let me get another glove here on this hand. And I'm going to free this one up so I can use it for my seasoning to do the other side. Okay, so I'm going to put these in there. And that's good. Here it's good. And partly cook it so it don't take so long to cook in the oven. Because, you know, chicken legs, seems like chicken with bones in it, they just take a longer time to cook in the oven. And I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to go ahead and sear them and partly cook them. Let's see. Well, it isn't going to fit all of them, but it's almost going to fit them. Let's see, I put 1, 2. Fit 9 in one pan. That isn't bad. It'd be nice if they made a pan big enough to fit about a dozen pieces of chicken in. I'm going to go ahead and turn these ones over and season the other side of these ones. Creole can be a little bit spicy. I don't want to light any of these guys up because some of my friends are a little bit older and they may not like things as spicy as what I do. Alright, there's that. I think I'm going to go ahead and get another pan out to get these going because like I said, I don't have a boatload of time because I do have to work later on. So I'm a little pressed for time, so I think I'm going to get another pan out. But let me get a whisk so I can mix up my cream of chicken and butter and water. And I'm just mixing up my water and cream of chicken and butter. And that was 2 boxes of stuffing, which makes a decent amount, just enough for each person to have a little bit. I'm going to move my corn over here and get another pan out. Really, with the stuffing, all you gotta do is let it get warm and mix it up because it's gonna go in the oven anyway. And because I like a little extra flavor, I was gonna use a bouillon cube, but actually I like to kick up the flavor of my stuffing. I use cream of chicken, but I also like to add either bouillon or better than bouillon. Goodness. And I'm going to put about a tablespoon of that in there. You know what? Just use a butter knife because this stuff kind of likes to stick to my spoons when I take it out of there. So I'm going to add a little bit of that to my broth. Alright, good enough. One more pan here. Move that over. I'm going to add some more avocado oil to this side. Well, that's all of that one. Alrighty, and those are in there searing and sauteing, and I'm going to add a lid to that so that it'll actually steam them a little bit more done before I add them onto my stuffing because I really don't want to have to leave my stuffing in forever, maybe about 30 minutes to brown it and brown the chicken, but I want to make sure they're cooked. 16 chicken legs, and there's my corn and my stuffing, well, it's stuffing base. And I'm going to mix that up. And it's really ready to go. So, I'm going to take this and mix it with my stuffing. And I got my oven already preheated to 400 degrees. I don't know if you can hear the chicken. I love the sound of chicken frying and the smell. It's so good. Yep, I think I'm going to get another box. And I did wipe off my counter with bleach, so we're good. Here is my dessert. I tried my friends. A tasty dinner or a lunch and then a dessert with it. Because I always think, way back when my kids were young, and like I said, we were poor as dirt. We didn't have nothing. One time, I don't remember what we were going through, but a family had brought me and my kids a meal. And like I said, I don't remember what it was for because it was so long ago. And they brought us a nice meal and a dessert with it. And in the middle of crazy in our life at the time, I can't tell you what it meant for somebody to bring us a meal and a dessert. You know, I mean, that was special. So I tried to make a meal and a dessert. So this is my dessert. Like I said, I made a Coca-Cola cake. And I made another Coca-Cola cake the other day for somebody else, and I had some leftover cream cheese cocoa frosting. So I'm going to add a little bit of milk to this to thin it down and make it like a drizzle on there and serve it up. Not maybe too much or not enough, but we'll see. My handy dandy leftover hand mixer beaters that I always keep on hand. I'm hoping this will thin out the way I think it will. That way I can use it without wasting, because I hate to waste leftovers, especially if they could be reused again, you know. With the cream cheese, powdered sugar and butter, and of course milk and cream I used on it originally when I made it. Oh yeah, that's gonna work. I left the rest of that stuffing broth on the back of my stove because I'm going to mix a packet of gravy with it. I know all this stuff I could do homemade, and I do know how to do homemade, but for sake of time, I'm not doing everything homemade today because I don't have time. Now that's homemade, and this is homemade, but the rest I'm cheating on. I'm using pre-made box items, but that's okay. You know what? You can't do everything homemade. You can try, but you don't always have time for it. I'm going to use McCormick's chicken gravy, and I'm just going to add it to the rest of my chicken stuffing broth that had the cream of chicken in it and the other flavoring, the bouillon. I'm going to add another cup of water. Smells so good. All right, and we've got that going. Now that these have steamed quite a bit, they're really getting done pretty quickly. So I'm going to turn them over, then we're going to drizzle our frosting on top of here and cut it up and put it in containers for people. But it's steamed quite a bit, so I'm going to take the lid off and let them brown more on the outside. Then I'm going to put them on the stuffing and put it in there to bake. Okay. Don't those look great? Yeah, see, they're starting to get done already. So when I put them in the oven, it won't take no time at all for them to get completely done and crisped up a little bit longer. There we go. Perfect. Yum, yum. I love fried chicken. One of my favorite meals. I do make it a lot. I don't make it all the time, but I do make it. It's one of my favorites. I think last week for Feed a Friend Friday, I made Salisbury steak and mashed potatoes and gravy. It was so good. So, so good. I try to make, when I come up with my menu list, what would I eat? I don't want to make somebody something I would not eat. So that's what I decided to do when I was creating my list of menus and food I wanted to feed my friends and share. There we go. And there's my little bit of gravy back there that I'm going to use to garnish the top.
There we go. Yum. Yum, yum. Oh, and it is going to flow over. All right, I'm going to cut that up.
I've got my little containers here for people's dessert. I'm going to cut this up. Didn't make a very pretty glaze. It's kind of soaking in, but that's okay. There's one. One-handed is not the easiest thing to do. And these are done. It's popping me all over the place. Pretty much done, but I'm going to go ahead and stick them on top of the stuffing. And it looks marvelous. It's so good. That one's so done, it's coming off the bone. I didn't really mean to cook it that done, but hey, it'll make it get done faster in the oven. So let me move that over so you can see it. My chicken and stuffing, and I will garnish it with gravy afterwards when it's done. Before I serve it, I'll put it in the containers, and let me show you my containers that I use. These are like heavy duty, like little hefty containers. They can be put in the microwave, in the dishwasher. So I'll just serve up stuffing, chicken, and a little bit of corn, and that'll be a meal for somebody. Well, not just anybody, my friends. So there's Feed a Friend Friday, my chicken and stuffing. I'm gonna put that in the oven. And I'm gonna let that bake for about 30 minutes till the chicken is completely done. And then I'll serve it up and I'll take it to my friends. Well, thanks for stopping by my channel and hanging out with me while I prepared a meal for Feed a Friend Friday. And I'd like to invite you back again. And if you enjoyed this, hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you next Monday. Have a blessed day.